Good evening and welcome to BS session number 45, where we're verified free of foreign interference.
We promise.
Because I have a shotgun and rifle that I use for, and 22 gauge that I use for ptarmigan, moose, and black bear.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS, ballistically speaking. The Ballistically Speaking Podcast.
Feels like it's been a while since I've been on the show here,
Yeah, it does.
It's good to see that Yuka Kazi is still sticking around.
Yeah.
What's up, Yuke?
Poor guy has no life, I guess.
Has it been a couple of months since I've been on here?
I don't know. I'd have
Have I
look
made
back.
any?
I don't know.
Fuck. Craziness.
I don't know. We skipped one. We had a really strange episode where I was forced to be by myself, and I was really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, man, did I leave?
And then I got bailed out
weeks ago.
Yeah.
By Bending.
Bending Ballistics, you betcha. He's kind enough to come on. That was good. Good. All right, Matt.
I'll tell you what,
nice to have you here.
I'm even on. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm cutting you off.
Yeah, no, all good.
I was just going to say I'm stuttering a lot. I'm going to be behind you guys all night. I'm stuttering a lot. This is hotel internet. I'm traveling again, and the internet here is fucking terrible. And I think that you guys aren't talking, so I start talking, and then I realize that your screen is just frozen for me. And then halfway through, I realize you're
That's
talking.
Excellent.
Talking over
that sounds like a recipe for success. That one, yeah.
So I might interject every once in a while, but I might have to let you guys carry most of this conversation.
Oh, they hear your excuses.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get right into it. We'll start off by honoring all our sponsors, starting with EM Precision Rifles in Leduc, Alberta, building Canada's finest precision rifles. Commission a build today at emprifles.ca.
Also, Bolt Action Coffee, bringing specialty coffee to the precision shooting world. Order coffee and merchandise at boltactioncoffee.com.
And callsign 66, welcome to the Brotherhood. Book a course with them now at callsign66.ca. And I believe Cappy texted me today, I think on the 16th of June, they're holding at their ranch that we've been talking about in southern Alberta. They're holding a civilian course. Yeah, I'm sure it was June 16th, he said. I'll look that up as the show goes on. And
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I think so too. What the hell?
And I'll let you look up that while I tell everybody that we're also brought to you by Odell Engineering. Pick up a Canuck shotgun or a Bergara rifle from your local distributor and tell them Phil sent you. And speaking of that, I have a video in the hopper that for some stupid reason I just haven't uploaded yet that features several firearms from Odell Engineering.
Right.
The Bergara BMR and the TM22 are both in that video. I need to upload that as soon as I get back home.
All right, I just looked it up. That callsign 66 course is June 6th week, your 16th weekend. So check that out. I'm not sure whether they've got it up on their website just yet or not. If you're looking for it and can't find it, contact us, info@bspodcast.ca, and we'll steer you in the right direction. We'll get the info for you. Okay, we're also brought to you by Apex Optics. When you buy Apex, precision comes standard. Find them at apexoptics.co and grab yourself a Rival 4-32 rifle scope and get on the mailing list for more exciting products. There's several other products out right now, aren't they? And a few more coming this summer, I think.
I just picked up a pair of Apex Summit Pros, the binos.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I again, this video that I have in the hopper, I put a Tacticam spotter camera on the Apex, the 12 power binos, the 12 power Summit. and that's what I just used for the camera. Target camera. Yeah,
Right.
in the video. It actually worked really good because I was doing, it's a maple seed style video, so I was just 25 meters away. So like
Okay.
12 power binos work perfectly for it. But it's
Nice.
one thing for me to tell you. It's another thing for me to upload it so you can see it for yourself. I guess.
I should come. You should come grab that for next weekend when we head out to Consort. So I can get some footage there of that.
Oh, I'll be bringing all of it with me, regardless.
I know, but you'll be late.
But well,
and I just can't have it.
Knowing that you're going out early, I might come out early now too.
Is that right? Okay, that would be good.
We'll see.
Excellent.
I'll have to let you know. If I don't, though, then I'll drop it off at your place before you go.
Okay, that sounds good.
Anyway, speaking of SAR Alberta, we're also brought to you by Ribstone Gunsmithing, where craftsmanship is done right. Contact Oscar at ribstonegunsmithing.ca and breathe life back into any firearm. We don't call him the Tsar of Alberta anymore, but he is.
He sure is. He'll always be.
He'll always be.
All right. We also have the Shooting Edge in Calgary, Alberta, home of the Sterling Arms R18. The shooting sports retail store with indoor range, education and training, laser engraving, fine firearms, and much, much more. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and on their website at theshootingedge.com.
And finally, Mart Scopes Canada, the Dion optical design of rifle scopes, has a scope for all of your hunting and shooting needs. Find Doug and Nisa at martscopes.ca.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Just before we move on here and bring Matt into the conversation, I need to let you know, Rooster, and of course I need to do this on the air because why would we have a private conversation? You
heard it here first, folks.
So people may or may not know that Kurt is being fucked over by the man, and it looks like he's going to have to work both, or like be on site both for TACCOM and for King of 2 Miles this year, which is kind of the shits. And I'm sure you agree with me that it's kind of the shits. So I'm going to be going to TACCOM solo again, which we said we wouldn't do, but life happens. So I'm looking for my flight. Okay. I get an email from Air Canada, and they're like, save up to 25% off on flights in inside of Canada. Book before June 1st, and you have to fly from July 1st to October 23rd or something crazy like that. So I'm like, well, cool. I need to go to Toronto in September. So, let's save 25%. They were offering 25% off from just about every major airport in this country except Saskatoon.
That's because it's not a major airport.
but they were offering it from Regina.
Oh, I see. Okay.
What?
Then it hurts.
they were offering 25% off flights from Kelowna. So I guess I'm going to pay full price. That's
Mike Hynek. Your first mistake was thinking Air Canada is a viable option. Agreed.
You know what? 15 years ago, especially 20 years ago, WestJet was a vastly superior airline to Air Canada, especially when flying in Canada. But I would say that has not been true for at least 10 years now. Though I've flown a lot, both with WestJet and Air Canada over the last 10 years, and I have watched WestJet make a slow nosedive down, down, down. And the last several times, and the last time I flew WestJet was just in April. I went with WestJet from Saskatoon to Hawaii, and it was fucking gong show. It was fucking mess. That airline is an absolute mess these days. And Air Canada has always been a mess. So it's the same mess that I have expected for the last several decades. But WestJet, you got used to this good service, and everybody was nice and fun. And the people doing the safety checks used to make jokes and all this kind of stuff. And now they're just a disorganized group of fucking losers who hate their job, just like Air Canada.
Well, you know what? Nobody wants to take the lead anymore. Everybody just wants to kind of uh, play with the rest of the herd. Problem is, the rest of the herd is just shit as well. So it's easier to go that way rather than stand out in the crowd. They just want to blend in and fuck it. We'll just be regular.
I have to be honest when I say that Air Canada's not, or sorry, WestJet's not all that in a bag of chips anymore.
Well, isn't that nice?
There's an early 2000s slang reference for back when WestJet was good.
What the hell was that?
All that in a bag of chips.
Oh,
Fuck, you are old, dude. You're not even hip to the lingo from 20 years ago.
you would be startled at what I've forgotten over the years.
Hey, should we bring Matt into the conversation here or what?
You know what? That seems appropriate.
We brought him on for a reason. Matt, aka Womfat, why don't you tell the people a little about yourself?
All right. As mentioned, my name is Matt. I have a little, well, I guess my online like shooting presence is under the title Womfat. A lot of people ask me where it came from. It's an old email I made like eons ago, and it's wombatsaretfat@gmail.com because I went to Australia and I saw wombats and I thought they were like the funniest animal ever. So I made that email and then I just abbreviated it to Womfat and then I just ran with it. I didn't think anything, I didn't expect to like do anything with the name, but now I'm too far in.
Your
I can't
whole
change
life
it.
just astute observations.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, well, it's actually funny because after I made the name, I have some Australian viewers. They're like, wombats aren't fat; they're actually all muscle, and they're getting like angry at my name. I was like, okay, whatever.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, but but no, it's all good fun. But anyway, that's where the name comes from. And
that's like when the Americans trash beavers. We get all upset about it. The Australians get all up in arms over the
No,
wombat.
you're fat.
So I started. Well, actually, I got my pal. Not that long, maybe like 2016 or something. But the first couple of years, I didn't do anything besides just go to the range and blast just for fun. And then I wanted to take something a little bit more seriously. I was looking at PRS. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. The whole sort of like precision rifle, a little bit more dynamic in different positions and stuff. But lo and behold, in Ottawa, Ontario, there's no PRS to be had, right? There's no there's no distance you can shoot out really in easy access. And then I found NRL 22, and then that led me down the giant rabbit hole of precision rimfire. So I started precision rimfire stuff, and in 2020, 2020. Then COVID happened.
Seems like a good time in Canada to start something like that. Yeah.
So everything was shut down, and I just whatever. But yeah, that rabbit hole is more like a black hole. Precision rimfire, and now 4 years in, I'm just neck deep, just precision rimfire every weekend.
Are you like pretty much only doing rimfire now, or?
I would say 98% of my shooting is rimfire, and I shoot center fire maybe like a handful of times a year. Yeah, it's mostly rimfire though.
So are you able to reach that sweet spot where you can shoot and afford a mortgage? Or are you spending way too much on rimfire too?
No, it's okay. Obviously, I'm married as well, so my wife sees all the finances. I can't just be a complete bum just shooting rimfire all the time. But I mean, it helps that it's more affordable. I was actually probably like back in 2018, 2019, I was really interested in getting my black badge, to do IPSC or whatever. And like I think like a month in, I was like, this is not financially feasible to shoot this much 9mm. So I just I gave that up pretty fast. Yeah.
Too funny. Well, so
I'm frozen here.
and ugly. Did you hear that? Shit. Take us through kind of your shit. Your kind of your evolution. Like, where did you start? I mean, you think of the plethora of gear out there, especially as it's as rimfire and rimfire competition has progressed over the past, I think especially 3 or 4 years. It's crazy. Where did you start?
Yeah, I actually joined at a pretty good time when it was like just at the initial explosion, because now it's like it's insane.
Oh yeah.
But when I first started, well, specifically here in Kent or Ontario, I guess there was a handful of what I would consider like longer distance matches, which is 100 yards and beyond. But really, the main focus was the club level, like 100 yards and inwards type matches. So NRL 22 and similar style matches. So it was a really good way to be introduced into the sport. It really tests your, basic fundamentals and stuff. And at the time, I had, firearms and stuff, but they were all for fun. I didn't take anything seriously. So my fundamentals were absolute garbage. I probably flinched every time I pulled the trigger. I shot like 12 gauge and like whatever 223, like all that stuff. So when I started to do rimfire, I realized how bad I was. Like fundamentally, I was a poor shooter, which is eye-opening, right? Because I'm like, oh yeah, I can with my 12 gauge, shotgun, I can hit a board 7 feet away from me, like So
Yeah.
it's quite a bit different. So it was a bit humbling, seeing my scores relative to these shooters that actually knew what they were doing. And at the time, again, because the shutdowns were just happening, a lot of the good centerfire PRS shooters were just doing rimfire because that's what was available. They couldn't travel. So there's a lot of overlap with really good shooters shooting on the firing line beside me. And I saw these guys and I was like, man, I want to be like them. They're pretty cool. So, the community is really nice. All the guys, you just sort of make friendships and stuff. And through talking to them, you learn a lot about what you can do better. I took a maple seat the same year, I believe, at the end of the summer. And with shooting with a lot of these guys that are just better than you, it's good to be the worst person at something in a group of friends, because that means you're the one improving, right? So
Right.
it doesn't feel great all the time, but it's good to improve. So my like skills or whatever you want to call it in precision rifle shooting and my fundamentals just like totally skyrocketed in like 8 months, I would say. It was cool. It was a good time to get started into it. And then when things started opening back up, end of 2021 and stuff, then all the borders open, you can travel and stuff. And then I started shooting a lot of the longer distance matches. And then I tried some centerfire PRS as well, which is a lot of fun, a lot more expensive, but a lot of fun as well. And yeah, now I've shot, I think I checked my practice score the other day. I'm at 110 matches in there. So that's in the past.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Past 3 seasons, I guess. Yeah. So
You're
I've
doing
shot a lot.
every weekend.
Yeah, I would say average during the season, it's one every other weekend or so. But there's definitely some months where it's like every single week you're shooting a match. Can get busy.
There's a lot. I guess it's the population difference, right? There's probably a lot of matches going on in Ontario, I would imagine, compared to our part of the world, right?
That's true. Yeah. Specifically in Southwestern Ontario, they have the Northern Rimfire series, which I think they have 6 or 7 matches a season. So, that's about two every month in match season. And since we're close to the US border in Pennsylvania, New York, like West Virginia, Ohio, they have a ton of matches. You can probably shoot a match a week if you wanted to, if you can travel. So I was basically doing that in the spring because I got a new rifle and you can't wait to use it, right? So I was driving like 4 to 8 hours for matches just to use my new rifle and stuff. And it's a lot of fun shooting in the States as well.
Yeah, I bet. There's a lot of participants down there too, hey?
Oh, a ton.
But, I mean, a lot more than in Canada, I think. Or at least it seems to be that way anyway.
What's actually interesting with Rimfire specifically is the numbers are similar to Canada, at least for our region, because I feel like the Americans have so many other disciplines they can shoot, right? They have IPSC, whatever, all the stuff, shotgun stuff. And Rimfire, again, it's only kind of recently really exploded within the last like 3 to 5 years. So it's a huge surge in incoming new shooters, but we put up good numbers here in Canada for sure. Actually, a really cool statistic was for the entire PRS Rimfire standings, which is nationally in the US and Canada, I guess. The Northern Rimfire series, which I think last year was the only one running in Canada, was the second largest club to post scores from. The only club that was larger than us in Ontario was the club from Texas.
No kidding.
Really?
Yeah. So we post really good numbers up here in Ontario, Canada.
So I'm not the weirdo for liking Rimfire.
Well,
No,
let's
you're
not
not.
jump to conclusions here.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny when I first started on the podcast under its other iteration, under first focal plane. I was pretty much exclusively doing Rimfire stuff, like mostly maple seeds based stuff, because I've had a PAL forever, but I never really got seriously into shooting until about late 2016, 2017. So I was still like working on my fundamentals a lot. So I was focusing a lot on maple seeds, and it's entirely fundamentals. And all these fucking elitists here are constantly making fun of me for doing Rimfire stuff. But you know what? It's nice to know that I have some kindred spirits out there.
I get that a lot too. You know, guys will laugh at the Rimfire stuff, and I get it. Honestly, it's like the go-karts compared to like F1. You know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
you can still have a lot of fun go-kart racing, right? And
I was just gonna say, anyone who's ever spun out in a go-kart knows that it's fucking great.
Yeah, exactly. And granted, like there's always going to be a lot more money in center fire and more prestige, and that's the way it should be. Like I totally agree with that. But if you want it, what's nice about Rimfire is if you want to make that your main discipline, it's competitive enough now where you're not just, you know, sandbagging a bunch of losers that don't have good fundamentals, right? Like you're actually competing against some really, really good shooters. So, and it's more accessible, cheaper, all that, you know, all the other bonuses.
Yeah. And I'd like this is how I can tell whether Jens is watching the show or not, is I just mentioned Rimfire.
Yeah, no,
Who the fuck
I have
shoot
to-
those?
I have to shoot a few center fire matches every year to make sure I don't get, you know, teased too hard as being a pure
really?
fire shooter. Yeah.
Well, what's funny is as I got more into the show, these fucking guys just sunk me more and more into center fire. And then of course I picked up a lot of semi-automatic stuff over the last couple of years with, you know, the rise of the 180Cs and the MCRs and the R18s and everything else that's coming out even still. So I probably took shit, Kurt. It's probably been a year and a half since you've seen me shoot a Rimfire, hey?
Yeah. It's been a while for sure. Yeah.
It has. Well, this video that I've got on tap is definitely the first Rimfire video that I've put out. Oh, no, that's not true because I started with the TM22. I had to review the TM22.
Yeah.
So I guess we can credit the Phil Odell and Odell Engineering with getting me back into Rimfire. But I'm going to be doing a lot more of it now. I want to. Well, I'm going to be doing a lot more of it, but also doing a lot of other stuff too, because obviously we're going to be doing 6.5 Grendel videos with a Sterling R18 conversion. So that's going to take up a lot of time too. But I'm finding right now that I have components for reloading centerfire, but I don't have a lot of primers. And I'm just like, I'm not playing this fucking bullshit primer game. So like suddenly Rimfire is looking a lot more appealing to me again.
Yeah, until Rimfire
guys.
ammo isn't able to be found, right?
Oh yeah, until then, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if that's going to continue to be a problem. Like I think primers are probably going to continue to be a problem for at least the next 12 to 18 months, if not longer.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
But I don't know if 22 is going to be.
Yeah. How is supply of Rimfire ammo? It looks to be pretty good every time I go to Extreme Range Outfitters and places like that.
It's so like cyclical, I guess. It comes in waves, right? Like they'll get the dealers will get this huge shipment in like the spring or whatever, and then within like a month it's just all gone, and then you'll have like a period of like eight months to a year where you can't find any match ammo. Everyone's like scrounging around trying to find like CCI standard velocity all of a sudden is like the new hot ammo if you can find any. So when I buy my match ammo now, I buy it in cases. Like we're not talking bricks anymore, we're talking cases and stuff. And it's a
but that's doable though.
Yeah, it is doable for sure if you plan for it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So it is sporadic though. You don't know when it's going to come in.
Yeah. Well, it kind of seems like it's something comes in that gets spread around the social medias, and the private chats, and then everybody just power buys them, and then the fucking companies, like, and then Spear's sitting there like, well, fuck you guys, we're not doing another lot of these for 6 months. So
exactly.
then you're just going to have to deal with the famine for a while.
Yeah.
So, but I want to address a couple of comments in the feed here. But before we do that, what have you found, Matt, that shoots well for you in
So
terms of ammunition?
Yeah, I've shot all the SKs, like all the match grade SK, like the yellow box, standard plus, rifle match, long range match. Long range match in like the tan colored box is what I'm currently using. But I'm down to my last couple bricks. So I just recently sourced some Ely match. And in the past, I've used Ely contact, Ely match. And when times are really tough, you might have to shell out the money for like 10x because that's all you can find, you know? Yeah. But you want, I mean, when you're competing PRS, especially long distance stuff, when you want like the consistency, you do need to shoot fairly decent match grade ammo.
Right.
Because some of the cheaper stuff, it just doesn't hold its consistency out at distance, right? So there's no point in driving, 8 hours and then spending $500 on hotels when you're not even competitive, So you gotta,
yeah.
Oh, Center X, yeah. Some of the Lapo stuff like Center X I've used as well.
What kind of rigs are you seeing out there? Like, are people using, are people spending what would be considered the appropriate amount of money, or is it just fucking chock full of voodoos on the lines?
Yeah, well, I guess your definition of appropriate amount of money has to come into question there.
Well, I'm talking about the centerfire elitists who think that anything more than $800 isn't worth it on a rimfire.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you. Even just a couple years ago, like when I first started, it was already like a few years old, right? Like 2 years or so, and this was already happening. But the firing line now is much different. In 2020, you saw a lot of Savages, a lot of semi-autos sometimes, and like random like Marlins and stuff like that. You don't see any of those anymore. I mean, you might see a B-22 in production class and stuff. No, I'm not putting that stuff through my gun. No Thunderbolt. But now you're seeing a shift to, well, first off, I think there's a couple factors that change the firing line. Some companies, and I don't want to talk trash, but Savage, for instance, didn't really keep up with what the market was doing, specifically in this discipline. Like, they still make great plinkers and all this stuff, but their sort of precision-oriented models have fallen short, so you don't see Savages very often anymore. And then the flip side of that is other companies like CZ, Bergara, they've really keyed in onto what these competitors want. So they've produced a lot of factory models that really check off all the boxes in what someone who doesn't want to spend an astronomical amount of money would, buy for this sport. And so you see all the 457s. I'm not even kidding you. Probably 60 to 75% of the firing line is 457s. It's just
really.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you're seeing a lot of
that makes sense. It's quite a good rifle, and it's not super expensive. It's not priced like
exactly. Well, not only that, it's also priced anywhere you want to be, right? You have the cheapest one at like $600 and the sky's the limit. Area 419 sells a custom package 457. Tessero is putting together their own custom 457. So really, I mean, it's such a reliable rifle too. It's almost a no-brainer if you want something that's like not crazy expensive, but runs really well and is accurate enough to be competitive. Yeah, 1022s. We hardly see semi-autos at the large format matches. In the States, you basically never see a semi-auto at the PRS matches. So
just bolts. Eh? So
just go with your heart.
Go with your heart. Are you seeing differences at the Canadian matches and the American matches in terms of what's on the line? Like, or is everybody kind of favoring the same thing?
What's funny is I think the Canadian market just lags behind what the US is seeing, because 2 years ago, well, just last year when I started, was it last year? Geez, time flies. Yeah, just last year when I started shooting in the States, you saw a lot of custom rigs. You can tell it's a custom rig because the action, it's the action, but then there'll be like this 26-inch like stainless barrel on it. You're like, hey, well, that's not from factory. And sure enough, this year on the Canadian fire lines, there's a lot more custom rigs. And same with like optics and stuff. The States will get them first, and then you'll see them trickle into Canada. So the shift is moving towards more expensive like either custom or semi-custom rigs where you're buying like a pre-fit barrel, but it's not all factory anymore. So you're seeing a lot of these aftermarket or whatever, like totally custom stuff. And I think a lot of the competitors are realizing that this sport is something they can spend their money on, because it's growing, it's competitive, and if they're a gear snob or whatever, yeah, it's fun to just meddle in gear and buy whatever you want and just trick out your rifles. So.
Hey, so just total random interjection here. You never hear much about the Tikka T1X. T1X? T3X? What is it?
T1X. T3X is the
T1.
centerfire.
T3 is the centerfire.
Okay. It started out, a lot of guys were really looking at it and enjoying it and that, but I haven't heard hardly anything for quite a while now. What are your thoughts on that?
You see a handful of them, but they're nowhere near as common as the 457. I think it's due to availability. I think they were originally a lot harder to find, and the magazines as well, which is very crucial. And not only that, but they only have two models. I think they have the MTR, which is just like their synthetic, and the UPR, which is in like that gray stock. So it's a great rifle. I have seen quite a few of them, but I don't think they offer as good of a competition package as the 457.
I gotcha.
Yeah. And comparatively, they're more expensive for what you get.
Oh, yeah. What the hell were they? $900 or something like that?
Yeah. About. And at that point, you might as well just get the 457 with the match grade chamber and a heavy barrel and all that,
Right.
So other than a build your own rig, like it really seems like CZ is really far ahead of the pack.
I would say in Canada, especially, the CZs are just completely dominating. It's no question. Yeah, for sure.
And what are you running?
Well, I started with the 457, and then I bought my wife a 457, and then I sold mine, then bought another. So I think I've had go through my hands like 5 457s, but then the voodoo bug bit me a couple years back. So I've been running Voodoo. So my first Voodoo was just completely factory, built by Voodoo. And then I connected with a gunsmith in the States, and he wanted to build me a completely custom, barreled action Voodoo. So I said, no, I'm not going to say no to that. So I said, yeah, sure. So
sure.
Yeah. So now I've been running the custom Voodoo for the last 6 months, I guess. Yeah, since January. So five months or so.
What kind of chassis is it in?
Currently, it's in a KRG C4, which is the new chassis they just made available late last year.
And then what are you running for optics?
Razor Gen 3 Vortex.
Oh yeah.
I was running a Minox, which was actually really nice, but I just didn't quite like the reticle, and I really like the EBR reticles from Vortex. So I got it. Well, I was actually lucky enough to get a certificate, 50% off. So I bought the Razor.
Oh, nice. How could you not? Yeah.
And I'm it's in MOA certainly, right?
You're a funny guy.
I thought we had you weaned off the rimfire on the centerfire. Now you tell us you're going back, and you had to bring up the MOA thing.
You know what? You know what I need?
We've lost you. I think. Where did we go wrong as parents?
I'm going to make this happen. I don't know when, but I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to show up in Ontario sometime. One of the big fucking matches
from Air Canada.
On an Air Canada plane with a fucking Kui 22 with like an MOA Tasco scope on it or something.
I'm actually going to do that. Dare you. Don't forget your clown nose too.
That'd be a waste of a $1,200 weekend, hey?
What's funny about MOA is it's not common here in Canada, but quite a few shooters, like shooting PRS specifically, still use MOA in the States. Like again, it's nowhere close to MRAD, obviously, but it's more significant numbers than here in Canada. So it is interesting. Have fun shooting, turd.
Yeah, I want to go back a little bit. Back when we were talking about precision rimfire versus center fire and all that kind of stuff. Mike Hynek says they laugh till they see you hit pop cans at 300 yards. And then Steven comes along and says, a pop can at 300 yards is luck. I
So
have my own
Steve,
feelings about this, considering
yes,
what I have seen.
Steve is
Just
actually
wondering
my
what you...
teammate. He shoots for Go Big as well.
Okay.
And so he's a good rimfire shooter. And so I kind of agree. Like if there's any sort of like environmental factors into that, most even custom rigs cannot hold a pop can sized group at 300 yards. Your group size is going to be like 5-6 inches. So there is definitely some luck involved in hitting a pop can at that distance for sure. I think that's what he means.
What do you think about a perfect condition day? Still at 5-6 inches?
Well, 5 to 6 inches is like best case scenario. I would see on most guns
Right.
consistently, and that's the key word is consistency. Because someone
Right.
will post a 3-inch group and they'll be like, "Oh, my rimfire is like a 1 MOA gun up to 300 yards."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, do that 5 more times and see what happens, right? So, yeah, like even on if you had like an airplane hangar or whatever, and you could shoot 300 yards with no wind, there is some luck involved with that. Now, if you brought it into 200 yards, I would say a really competitive, good rifle could probably hold that group size.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I've seen some pretty fantastic shots with good shooters, of course, and good rigs. But yeah, it's asking a lot for a bullet like that, and
yes,
and the way that Rimfire is manufactured.
Exactly. Yeah.
To be miraculous.
Yeah. And
To put it bluntly,
there's inherently, like, in the process of making rimfire ammo, going to be some inconsistencies, right? And you can see that. You can totally see that if you just put it over the chronograph or shoot at distance.
Mm-hmm.
It's nowhere near as as consistent as centerfire, and it breaks apart so much quicker too, right, at distance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, have you ever tried any of the fancier bullets that what is
like
it?
the copper solids and stuff?
Yeah. Have you ever dabbled in any of that stuff? Been able to?
The reason why I haven't is for a few reasons. First off, the discipline that I focus on, which is PRS, specifically says you have to use factory made ammo. And it has to, I believe it actually specifies it has to be a lead bullet and all this stuff. And I believe too, the copper solids, you basically can't get them into Canada. I can't remember why, not the bullet specifically, but the brass to bring it up. It's like, because they have to be primed already and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I haven't tried that. Yeah.
That's
and you might need a special chamber too. I don't know if they're actually longer and if they would actually seat into like a normal match grade chamber. I'm not too sure.
I can't remember. I remember talking to the cutting edge people down at the SHOT Show back in January.
But like some of their bullets are fucking like 2.5 inches long. Like they're going a little bit beyond ridiculous on some of them, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think the shooters that really were interested in the copper solid stuff and like hand loading their own 22s are the ELR guys, right? Mm-hmm. That are like really pushing the boundaries of 22 LR, but with PRS style matches, it's not something I'm personally interested in right now.
How much of that stuff is going on now? The Rimfire ELR.
Not much that I can think of. I know there's a small, like a very small handful of matches in the States that are Rimfire ELR, but to catch on to that, it's a whole different beast, right? You're going to need like all the different like Charlie tracks and stuff like that and whatnot.
What exactly are we considering ELR for Rimfire anyway? Like it's not going to be 2 kilometers, that's for sure.
I would say basically, so the longest distance I've shot in a match format for PRS is 400 and like just shy of 450 yards basically. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I can still dial my scope without having to do holdovers. I think once you run out of the ability to dial out to your target, so probably like 500 yards and beyond, I would consider
Call
that
it
ELR
a day.
And consider it ELR for Rimfire basically.
Yeah. If your razor can't get you, what kind of MOA rail do you have on your rifle? Like is it a 50 or?
So currently it's just a 40, but my old Voodoo I was actually running 60 MOA with the Minox.
60, okay, yeah. So if your razor with a 60 MOA rail isn't getting you there, that's what you consider MOA or that's what you
ELR.
ELR.
Yeah, exactly.
That seems fair, actually. That seems like a pretty reasonable assessment.
Well,
did we slag on the Spaniards?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where.
I'll
that
bet you
would
we
have come
did,
in,
and we
but
didn't even realize it.
wait.
I don't know why Phil doesn't want us slagging on the Spaniards anyway. He's Irish. I'm sure he'll tell us. Anyway, speaking of optics, I meant to ask you a while ago, but my thing kept dropping out. But what I asked you what kind of rifles you're seeing on the line. I know you're running a Razor Gen 3. What kind of optics are people like? Is there one optic that's more prevalent on the line than other people? Is it different than you see in centerfire PRS?
There's so much crossover in centerfire to rimfire now. It's very similar. All the high end optics are now on rimfire rifles, like the Night Forces, the loop bullets, the Vortex, like all the high end stuff you'll see, as long as it can parallax down close enough, right? Like within 50 yards. Because even the Gen 2 razors, I think it was like 60-yard minimum parallax or something. So some of the rimfire matches it couldn't work for. But a lot of the scope manufacturers now have also caught on that rimfire is a huge market, and these guys are willing to pay. So they're making sure that a lot of these new scopes coming out can parallax down to 25, 10 yards and all that stuff. But what I will say is there's definitely more entry-level scopes on a rimfire line than centerfire, which I think makes sense. So you see a lot of the cheaper, like the Vortex Venoms and the more entry-level scopes like that, which still work totally fine.
Interesting. I didn't think that they would be too much different than what you're seeing in centerfire, but I suppose it just makes sense, right? What works on a centerfire rifle is going to work on a rimfire rifle too.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
So other than PRS and rimfire, where you said that you do some PRS centerfire every once in a while, are you doing any other shooting other than PRS, or are you just exclusively in that realm now?
Right now, I'm totally just in that zone. I don't have enough time or money to explore other options, but that is also because it's what I thoroughly enjoy right now. I really enjoy it. Every match I go to, it's a learning experience and I'm having a great time. Even if I don't do like particularly well, I thoroughly enjoy just that discipline. And it's what I'm half decent at right now. So that's what I like to focus on.
You only want to do what you're good at, huh? See, my secret is I'm not good at any of it. So I'll do any competition. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be equally embarrassed regardless of what I enter. So
yeah. Well, another reason too is since we're chasing like season standings, every match you attend, you're sort of trying to gain points. Right. So if you go shoot another discipline, you almost feel like you're wasting that day because you could be shooting a PRS match to get points and stuff like that. So
what we need is some sort of crossover point system. Now, okay. That
sure
would
that
be
wouldn't. Yeah, I'm sure that would be received well.
Could you guys imagine? So in boxing, you got the unified title, right? Because you got all these organizations, right? Could you imagine some sort of hybridized competition that is multidiscipline, that you shoot, let's call it it doesn't have to be all in one day, but just imagine a match where you're shooting like PRS, ELR, and say like 3-gun or whatever else. Would that be interesting, or am I just like completely full of shit?
I think the sports world tried something like that, albeit something different than shooting. But I think it ended up being called Aussie Rules Football. Bunch of fucking psychos.
I thought you were going to say XFL.
No, that's it. Yeah, they just recruited from strip clubs and said, here's some gear and a ball. Do your thing.
That's hilarious. So we're getting like multiple people saying this exists. So Adam says it's called Trichicon Shooting Challenge. And then Mike Heineck is saying it was called Top Shot and it used to be on the History Channel.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm not sure why Yuka Kazi is talking about Halo style needlers and So
He was talking earlier about the plasma rifles. I'm sure that would be an interesting competition.
He seems to think that those exist. Phil's got an interesting idea, though. Like, you could go cross-platform with, like, best X number of matches. You don't even have to be shooting the same type of matches. Each match is just allotted a certain number of points. And then you could, see whose penis is bigger at the end of the year.
Sure.
Because that's the whole point, isn't it? I mean,
so killed conversation.
am I completely out to lunch here? Like, am I the only one in the world who wants to see a multidiscipline, like, world title championship sort of thing?
That would be interesting for sure.
I feel like people have tried to mix in like precision with close range stuff, because I know for sure there's matches in the States where you have to use like PCC or a handgun for like a certain stage, and then you switch to precision rifle. So there's something out there like that. Here in Canada, I doubt it, right? And if you're traveling to these matches, imagine having to bring 4 firearms with you. Like, it's a headache, probably. So
yeah, the logistics are difficult, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? If I do say so myself, it's a great fucking idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would write that down if I were you.
Yeah, you think so?
I can't think of anyone better to try and start that.
So David's got a question for you, and you kind of went through this already when we were talking about your ammunition availability and what you're using, but he wants to know what the best rimfire cartridge is, 22 or 17 HMR. Is 17 HMR rimfire? Well, I would say it's rimfire, but what is the tiniest center fire? Well, that's a lot. Okay, there's a lot more questions in there than I initially thought there was. So let's attack them one at a time. Yeah. What's the best rimfire cartridge? And do you like 22 over 17? Is 17 rimfire or centerfire? I think we already know that one. And what is the tiniest centerfire? That's 5 fucking questions David gets.
Best rimfire cartridge is 22 LR, hands down. 22 or 17 HMR, 22 hands down. 17 HMR is definitely rimfire, and it shoots like a laser within like 80 yards, right? It's like, what's the velocity? It's like 2,800. It's like crazy fast, isn't it?
Are they that fast?
Let me Google.
They're up there
like,
for sure. Yeah,
they're pretty zippy.
I thought they were over 2,000. Man, I didn't know they were that fast.
26. Yeah, 2650 feet per second.
Still,
in excess of that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So they're really zippy, but I know for a fact, because my buddy has a 17 HMR, the wind after like 100 yards, the wind blows them around even worse than 22 because they're so light. Yeah. Right. So and in rimfire competitions, you can't use anything besides 22 LR. It's specified in the rules anyway.
Mm-hmm. Also,
tiniest
22.
Yeah.
Tiniest center fire, the one I'm aware of is there was some dude down in the States years ago, I think back when bench rest was really, really popular. I think it was a 12 Calhoun.
Whoa.
That Calhoun name actually developed quite a few cartridges, several I think on the Hornet case. A little bit of nerd trivia for you, but I think he experimented with bullets down as small as like 1/8 of an inch diameter. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you clean the bore of that rifle?
Right. Toothpick and a thread.
My goodness.
Well, he certainly made a 19 Calhoun.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, that one's on the Googles. Mm-hmm. But man, this 12 Calhoun, that must have been an obscure, tiny little cartridge, eh? Mm-hmm. And it was center fire.
Yep.
That's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. So what I don't think you answered this one. What do you think is the best rimfire cartridge? Or with rimfire, do you think that you can answer that? Is it more specific to the rifle?
Like, are you talking caliber? Because I would just say 22.
No, I mean like brand or model or.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's very dependent on your rifle itself. As we all know, since we can't load to your rimfire rifle, you have to lot test, and depending on your head spacing, if you can't adjust your head space, for example, SK and Lapua, I think it's like 43 thou head space thickness, Whereas Ely, it's a little bit less. It's like 40 to 41. So your rifle might like one better than the other. It's just a bunch of testing. It's honestly a huge headache. That's one thing that really sucks about Rimfire is having to lot test so much.
Yeah,
that sounds like a whole bunch of minutia that I just don't want to get into.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm the same way. The reason why I buy a case of ammo is so I can test it one time and shoot it for like a year.
And then how many rounds are you having to go through to get a really good idea? Like you can't just be shooting 3-shot groups like I'm doing in YouTube review videos, right?
Yeah, you're right. With Rimfire, I would say minimum you'd want to do, like if you're actually testing for a lotting, you're going to spend money on it.
For our audio listeners,
nice.
Blind Spotter says, back in the day, my 12 caliber was all I needed. Rooster. Sorry, carry on, Matt.
Oh man, these comments are funny. I can't even. What was I saying? What was I going on about?
I don't even remember now.
Can't even remember.
We were talking about
ammo lots and testing and.
Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I would say like 10-shot groups if you're really testing. The day of the match, I'll usually print 2 5-shot groups just to confirm 0, and then over the chronograph, I'll do minimum 10, preferably anything over that, like up to 50. Even if I'm just shooting a box over, zeroing my rifle, I'll shoot a whole box just to see what it SDs at. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that actually surprises me. Other than the chronograph stuff up to 50, that makes. I would have thought you would be shooting larger groups as well. But I suppose the more you do it, you're getting a good idea of whether it's going to shoot well after 10 rounds or not. Hey.
Well, sorry. The other thing is I'll test it at different distances, 50 for sure, and then as far as I can go, like within reason, like 200 yards is a good testing point. So I'll do 50, 200. If it's fine at both distances, I'll see what the SDs are, and then if it's below like 10. I'll just shoot it. No questions asked.
So then you're buying cases. Are we talking like 5,000 round cases?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Rob, Apex has done very well in year 1 for representation on the line. Well, you're goddamn right they have, Rob.
Yeah. They've absolutely exploded. Like whatever Vanya's doing marketing wise, it's really working. I mean, I think he's sponsoring the whole Northeast region of PRS and stuff. So every match you go to, you're seeing
all over. Yeah.
Well,
really
the problem. Really the problem is they're nice people.
Is that a problem?
That is a problem.
I didn't know that.
It's a problem. Well, it's a problem for their competitors.
Right.
And something we should have mentioned, but I kept freezing out at the beginning of the show. The Hunter and the Edge. I haven't spoken to them in the last little while because I've been out of the loop, but I'm pretty sure the Hunter and the Edge are due to land pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. So
you're going to see 2 new SKUs of scope.
Is the Edge the LPVO? Which one's that?
Yeah, the Edge is the LPVO.
Okay.
The Hunter is the hunting scope, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I think originally, like back in January, they were expecting like late May to June-ish launch. And here we are at the beginning of June. So, who knows, right? The problem is when Carly starts talking, you can't get a word in. So you got to buy this. You've bought a scope before you know it. It's like, fine, I'll buy the scope.
Can I go now?
What else? We had some other.
Well, I wanted to ask about ammo and through the life of that lot or barrel or whatever, how much? Let's talk ammo lot. How much variation? And first of all, I guess how much testing do you do through the course of a season? Would you retest mid-season or anything like that? And how much variation do you see? We all know that rimfire ammunition is. The way it's made and that doesn't allow for wild precision. So do you see, according to like shit in your barrel, like your barrel cleanliness, the weather, all that kind of stuff? Do you see?
That's a really good question. First
I know,
off,
I thought of it all myself. Yeah.
Well, first off, like for me this year, I just started with a brand new barrel, right? Like it's never been shot. So when it sort of fouls up, you will notice some differences. my barrel sped up when I first shot it. It was like 1030. I was like, oh gosh, this is really low velocities. And after a couple hundred rounds, is hovering around 1045, 1050. And then you mentioned weather as well. Some ammo will shoot pretty good in the cold, and then pretty good in the summer, and then just like awful in the cold.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's good to test throughout the year, different temperatures, and I would say, Steve I know Steve likes to shoot like a whole case of ammo when he tests, so he's a little bit of a different breed.
If you're not testing with 5,000 rounds, you're not testing.
But a big part of PRS is the mental game. Like when you're trying to compete at the highest level, you have to have full confidence in your rifle, and that includes the ammo, right? The performance downrange. So if you have any questions, like for example, if I step away from a match and I was like, man, like I feel like some of these shots weren't me, I will test the ammo, if nothing else, because I want to be confident in my gun for the next match, right? But you will also notice variations in lot, like the same lot. I will say a lot of people have this mentality that if you just buy one lot, it's going to shoot the same from the first bullet to the 5,000th, which I have found is not the case sometimes. There's inconsistencies within the same lot too, right? Like when they cut the production line or whatever and say like, okay, from this bullet to the next bullet, this is the split between the two lots. Well, that's kind of arbitrary. You know what I mean? So maybe there's some inconsistencies in the one case of ammo that you bought. And I have definitely seen that where, one brick of ammo, I'll be like, oh, this isn't quite shooting the same. So I'll test every now and then, but it's not like a set period that I test. It's whenever I feel like I have to.
Yeah. I'm just curious, guys like you, that do shoot a ton and actually really pay attention to what your rifle and ammo are doing through the course of a season. I was just kind of curious as to how much you did that and what you were seeing exactly.
Yeah. And actually the other thing some people don't consider is wear and tear. Like as you shoot rimfire, like for centerfire, for example, like your rifling is basically getting pushed further and further in, right? Rimfire, we don't see that, but the wear and tear on the bolt might actually be expanding your headspace. Ooh. So I was talking to the gunsmith that built my barrel, and he was saying he was testing a new action. I won't name what it is. But within, I think he said less than 1,000 rounds, he remeasured the headspace and it grew by like 3,000, which is significant. Very significant, right? So just like the wear and tear on the locking lugs and how everything is sort of settling in, it can change the way your ammo will perform just based on all these tolerances and whatnot.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to ask you too, but it leaked out.
Yeah, leaked out of one ear. It's all good.
I am having trouble tonight, but I got a question here from Yuke. Who says, hey, fellow Matt. His name is Matt.
I see.
How do you feel about the CVA Cascade? Do you have a favorite caliber for that rig? I don't even know what he's talking about. Do you?
I think it's a rifle.
That's a good guess.
Is it a rifle? CVA Cascade. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. No idea.
I'm gonna look it up here. So
it seems to be some obscure bolt action rifle that I've never heard of before.
I think maybe we see it down at Shot.
In the US? Did we?
On the other side of the Bergara booth.
This can't be it. This is
no, it's a bolt action. No. What is that?
Yeah, that's a muzzle loader.
No, I was gonna say.
Try again.
Come on. Oh, here we go.
Oh, but subscribe.
Yeah. The Cascade bolt action rifle. It's CVA's first ever bolt action. It's a centerfire. Yeah. The fuck are you talking about, Uke?
Oh.
It's 4140 carbon steel barrel.
Listen, don't buy into it. He's just trying to derail. Can we block him?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he has successfully derailed.
I think he has. Damn it, he got us again.
You motherfucker. And here I thought it was a legitimate question, so I circled back to put it up. And he even says here it's a bolt action centerfire. Phil says, yeah, CVA cast. Wait a minute. Yeah, we did see those at Shot. Weren't the CV? Yeah. Oh my God.
Nice to have you back.
But we were looking at the muzzle loaders though. We didn't look at the Cascade.
Yeah, they had those long range muzzle loaders there, right?
Yeah, that was the Bergara booth, wasn't it? Wasn't that their brand of muzzle?
It was on the other side.
On the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
well,
kind
how
of
could
neat.
I forget that shit? Phil's
Yeah,
like, it's
captured
not
my attention for
obscure,
about
you
3 minutes.
motherfuckers. I just forgot all about it. Phil's sitting here freaking out. He's like, I literally showed them to you at SHOT Show. I've completely forgotten about them. Oh, Uke says that it was a serious question. I don't know why he's asking our rimfire expert questions about centerfire rifles, but he says it was a serious question.
Stop giving him attention.
Okay. Where are we here?
All right, listen.
yeah.
What about PRS versus NRL versus CRPS? I know you're into all of those, I think, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They're all just different series. So basically, NRL was, well, do you know the difference between NRL and PRS, like just center fire in the States?
Nothing that I can recite, really.
So again, I'm not an expert in the center fire side of stuff, but essentially they were basically just two different series. I think the PRS was more predominant in the West, and NRL in the, or pardon me, flip that. PRS was more predominant in the East, NRL in the West, and they had very similar style matches. But NRL went towards a more hunter style format recently.
Sure.
But they also created the NRL 22, which is just a monthly course of fire that's released nationally. So all the clubs shoot the same thing. It's within 100 yards, or it used to be. Now there's different options. Okay. So that's NRL 22. PRS is from, well, PRS Rimfire is from the PRS, obviously, and they have a different format where instead of releasing a monthly course of fire, they just say, these are all our match directors. These are their clubs. As long as you have, I can't remember the minimum. It's like 15 shooters and minimum 7 stages. You can host a PRS match. You make your own course of fire, and you just just shoot that. So that's the two different series. And then CRPS is in Canada. What am I missing here?
I'll bring attention to it later.
Oh, I see. It's just CRPS is in Canada, and that's its whole separate thing. It's all Canadian. It doesn't bleed into PRS standings or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like with the NRL Hunter, the centerfire stuff, there's limits on weight and there's a power factor there. If I think that's the correct way that they describe it, but do some of the same type of things apply somehow to the NRL 22?
No, the only thing that sort of bleeds over with that is the division rule. So we do have production or factory, whatever you want to call it, and open, but we don't have any like weight limit because there's not really many Hunter 22 matches at the moment. So that's really not its own big thing currently.
Gotcha. Are you coming out for the CRPS stuff at my place this year?
Yeah, at the Rooster Ranch.
Yes.
I believe I think it's in August, and unfortunately, I'm really busy early August, and then end of August we're in Italy, so I don't think I can make that happen.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's June 15th is when that kicks off. Actually, at my range out there.
Oh, is it that early? Really?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite a bit different.
Okay.
Timing wise.
What am I missing here? That's this year?
Yeah. CRPS stuff.
Match? You're hosting a CRPS on June 15th?
Yeah.
That's in 2 weeks, Kurt.
No, July. Did I say June?
Yeah, you said June.
Oh, fuck. Sorry. I meant July 15th. Holy
fuck,
smokes.
you're freaking me out. I'm like, what am I going to wear?
Oh, I'm a good kid. I'm just kind of half brain dead. I'm sorry.
July 15th sounds a little easier.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. July 15th. Okay, here's Yukikazi's very serious question. We need to take this seriously. He is a listener of the show, and we have to give him equal time to everybody else, okay? Since we're on Rimfire, have used guys, this is a serious question, have used guises ever legally fabricated a Slamfire 22? I don't know what your Kanakistani laws are on that issue, so we'll say that it's for creative writing purposes. I don't think we're even allowed to make Slamfire rifles, are we? Like that would be illegally modifying a rifle.
We're not allowed to make rifles, period.
Well, yeah, clearly. But I mean, like, am I wrong on that? Like, we're not even allowed to fuck with a gun like that, are we?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So there's a very short answer to Yuke's question. Has anybody ever seen? I think was it Grand Thumb or the AK-47 guy? What's his name? Brandon Herrera showed this on his video. It was this. Now words are fucking escaping me. What the hell was that World War II machine gun that had the fucking plate magazine on the top of it? Or was it World War One?
Starts with an S, right?
You know the type of magazine that I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, it's like a disc, right?
Yeah. Open bolt rifle. The French Gavarm works like that. No, I don't think he meant open bolt. I think he literally meant a slam fire rifle. But anyway,
a socket and a hammer.
Yeah, exactly. What
Dishka?
That plate magazine, anyways, what I'm talking about. It's not a Dishka. There was a 22 version of that was made, and it was something like 300 or 250 or 500 rounds of 22 rimfire, fully automatic. Did you guys ever see that video?
No, but that sounds ridiculous.
I'll look it up and put a link in before the end of the show. But
Todd says Lewis gun.
The Lewis is what I'm thinking of.
Oh.
And what the hell is that? What the hell is it? No, that's the gun that everybody knows that has that. What type of magazine is that fucking called? That disc type magazine. But there was a company in the U.S. that made, and I think it was originally designed as like a riot control gun that was 22 rimfire, and it had one of those types of magazines on it, and it was fully automatic 22 rimfire.
The brush cutter.
It was probably called something like that.
The hen house hellion.
The hen house hellion. Fuck. It doesn't. You know what? You guys carry on. Oh, wait a minute. No. Phil's got it here. I'll bet you, Phil. I'll bet you this is it. The Commando Arms 22 LR.
Interesting.
No, because that looks like a Thompson. Or no, that's the wrong picture. No, it's not.
Congratulations, Uke. It's firmly derailed.
Are we just off the fucking rails now? Yeah, no, it's not a Commando Arms. It's not a Commando Arms. The prison gun, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what it's called. So Blind Spotter says it's called the Hornet or something. It's Russian and a DP something.
Well, so far we're up to about 24 different names, and we still haven't nailed it.
It's called a drum mag. No, it's not a drum magazine. It's not a drum mag, Todd. It's like a drum mag, like inserts like a regular magazine, but it's the drum. This is that circular disc. The American 180. Notice me. American 180 rifle.
Oh yes, I think it is. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
and it was administrative results that had it on. Grand Thumb's buddy. He's the one who had it. Yes, that's it. The American 180. Okay, hold on.
I'm with you, Phil.
Phil's like, holy shit, this is frustrating. Read your comments.
Right.
Yeah, the YouTube video
teach
is
a cat Japanese.
The Forbidden 22 LR SMG American 180.
There you go. I was trying to catch up on the video, on the comments. It's not my fault. But yes, everyone's right. The one I was thinking of is the American 180 right there with American administrative results. I don't even remember why I mentioned it now. Do you guys remember why I talked about it?
I don't know.
And Phil's right. It looks like a Thompson, but it has the drum magazine on top.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to call it a drum magazine, though. Whatever. Move on. Are we carrying on here? Do we have more Rimfire stuff to talk about?
Do we have any audience left?
I think everybody left. Phil's banging his head against the wall right now.
I know. He got angry at me saying...
I think he got angry at me because he was telling me Pan magazine. Yes, Phil Odell for the win. They're called pan magazines. See, I read your comments, Phil. Guys, do we have any more to talk about with Rimfire stuff? Or
I don't
are we
know.
like, is this just done? What do you want people to know about Rimfire, Matt? What do you want them to know the most about Rimfire?
Oh, dang, I don't know.
Without being chided relentlessly.
Yeah, no, it's just as cool as Centerfire, guys. No.
I just about spit out my bolt action coffee.
Here's what I'm going to say about Rimfire. Only real men shoot Rimfire because you have to be secure in your masculinity.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If you were as secure as you think you are, you wouldn't have to even fucking say that.
Well, yeah, but no. Even manly men defend themselves when their masculinity is attacked.
Alphas don't need to declare that they're alphas.
Jeff, I don't know what is Jeff talking about. I'll think it's a 22 LR, or I'll think it's a Japanese deep dish. What does that mean?
A pan magazine.
Oh, that's racist, Jeff. I didn't even get that. Oh man, now we're gonna get canceled.
And here I thought we were foreign interference free.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Jeff is foreign and he interfered.
Okay, here's something of substance.
Oh, thank God.
Went to clean your precision.
Mike's
22,
bailed us out again.
So when do you want to clean your precision 22?
The easy answer is I have a YouTube video on that. Now the nutshell.
Where do they find it?
On my YouTube channel, I guess, Womfat. But no, to answer that question, like in a nutshell, the most important thing for me personally is making sure the carbon ring doesn't build up for the elimination of the cold bore shot, which is pretty important in PRS. So basically every 1 or 2 matches, I'll make sure the chamber is clean, and then I'll just push out any extra solvent with 1 or 2 patches. I won't clean the bore, and that's basically what I do for the entire season.
So I think, I only posted it on Facebook. I think that is the YouTube channel that or the YouTube video that you're talking about. You're talking about the one that you've titled "Cleaning My Precision Rimfire Rifle."
Yeah, that's it. And in the thumbnail, I purposely made sure there's a steel cleaning rod visible so that people would freak out. But awesome. I don't actually push that down the board. Don't worry.
You should have anyways. It would have been fun. Yeah. So everybody should watch that video. But since we don't have time to watch it on air, let's answer some of these questions here. So Phil asked, how do you clean it? Solvent, type of brush, or patch?
So solvent, I use Bortec. Currently, I really like using the carbon remover. I don't use the Rimfire blend for Rimfire. Funny enough, I use the carbon remover because that's basically what you're trying to get out in the carbon ring. In terms of, I actually try and only use patch if I don't need to use a brush. But if I bore scope it and it's really stubborn, I'll use a brush sometimes. I'm not too concerned about that. And what else? How do I clean? It's all in the video. just watch the video. If it's too long, play it at like 2 times speed. You'll get something out of it.
No, just watch the whole thing.
Yeah. You can watch the whole thing at 2 times speed, so you don't have to sit there for the whole time. I do that often with YouTube videos. Do
you really? I never do that with YouTube videos.
Oh yeah.
I've done it with podcasts, but I've never done it with YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
So Thomas, actually, the comment you just shared, he's the match director at my home club at Stittsville.
Okay.
And I totally agree with him. Like you'll never feel ready to shoot a match. It doesn't matter what discipline, PRS or not. Right. You just got to do it, And what's lucky about PRS is it's very beginner friendly, more so than other disciplines. So just come out and do it. Like if you don't have all the gear, people will share with you. And if you're not doing things correctly, people will help you out. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, we've talked about this lots before. Rimfire or centerfire. Yes, these people in these shooting sports seem to really almost look for the new shooters and encourage them to join and help out like crazy. It's amazing to see. It's fantastic. That's my one and only heartfelt comment for the interview.
Only one.
Yeah, I'm all out now.
So what do you got going on for the rest of the year? Let's start bringing it home here. What are you just competing in what's ever available for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so the I'm focusing more on Canadian side matches now because we've ramped it up with the Northern Rimfire series, which is part of the PRS series, by the way. They're a PRS club, so all your points in the NRS count to your PRS standings. And after that, in August, I'm going to Italy for the World Championship, which is the first ever Precision Rimfire World Championship, whatever you want to call it.
It is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So they had the Centerfire one in France last year. It's in Italy for Rimfire this year. And a bunch of guys basically got together and created a Canadian sort of like, I don't know, board of directors, whatever you want to call it, for the precision rifle team. And they, based on last year's standings, chose some guys to be qualified. And I was, fortunate enough to be one of those guys. So I'm going to go to Italy. Should be pretty fun.
Nice.
What city is it being held in?
So I can't remember the city's name, but you have to fly into Rome. I think if you fly into Italy with firearms, you have to go to Rome. And then the actual match is about like an hour and a half northeast of Rome. So it's pretty close. It's not too bad.
That's pretty cool. Like, are you going to do the tourist thing while you're there, or are you just like in and out?
We're still deciding. I think if we can, we'll go a bit early to do some touristy stuff before the match. And also just, acclimatize and not be super jet lagged when I have to compete.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds really cool. Italy's still on my bucket list. We're talking about a Europe trip maybe in 2026, and
nice.
Making sure that Germany, France, and Italy are all a part of them. Those are the ones that you really want to see.
Yeah,
that's pretty
for
cool.
sure. That's going to be my first time in Italy. My wife has been before, so I'm kind of relying on her for all the good recommendations of places to see and places to eat.
Colosseum, the Colosseum, Pompeii. Yeah. Oh, there's a tower there that's kind of falling over. You can go see that. You can go be the tourist that takes the photo of making it look like you're trying to hold it up. I'm sure nobody's ever done that before. That's my idea.
Very original.
You can use it though if you want. What kind of question is this?
I don't know. Let's save that for a second. But I've seen a couple of things concerning fundraisers for the group to get over there. Can you tell us about that a little?
For sure. So basically, it's very expensive, right? Like go to Italy, shoot a match.
Yep. So
I'm very fortunate that I shoot for Gobic Tactical. They're my sponsor, and Tom over there who runs it just gave me a few items that he told me I can raffle off and stuff. So in terms of Team Go Big, there's two of us going to Italy, me and Steve, who also commented, saw him before, Steven Borsellino. So him and I decided we'll just do like a sticker draw, and we'll split the funds between us to help cover some costs. And I just announced the most recent one today, actually, on the CRPS Facebook group and on my Instagram, I think, as well. Maybe I didn't. Can't remember. Maybe I should do that soon. Anyway, so you can buy a sticker. You get a chance to be entered in for a prize. This one is a Timney trigger for the 457. Okay. Yeah.
Right on. Good. Good. All right.
Oh, sorry. I should mention. There's also a full rifle package that Rick.
Okay, I thought I saw that.
Yeah, from the CRPS. He put together this big rifle package. It's like a full Rimex, custom ACC, everything. And he is, I believe, selling 100 tickets, and he's going to split the funds between the entire Canadian team. So that's really nice of him as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And where do they find that? On the CRPS
that's right,
Facebook page. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, as long as folks know. Yeah.
Derek wants to know, what is the World Championship configuration in Italy? How many days, stages, distances, etc.? How many competitors?
So, they just released the itinerary. It's, I believe, 6 or 7 days of shooting, but the first 3 days is basically just like warm up / tune up. And they're trying to mimic the Centerfire format for Rimfire. And essentially, I don't know how many. I didn't actually read the itinerary yet. I should probably do that. But I think as a competitor, as a competitor, you're shooting the actual match, like that counts for points, I think, over 3 days, 2 or 3 days. And the round count has been released. It's just shy of 200, which makes me think it's probably 20 stages. And the par times there are 90 seconds, which is shorter than what we shoot PRS here. It's 105 seconds. So 90 seconds is going to take a little bit of getting used to. I'm probably going to have to practice that a little bit. And in terms of competitors, I don't know how many. I wouldn't be surprised if it's around 200. That's what Nationals was in Texas. So, a bunch of countries are sending their teams there, and it'll be pretty cool to compete against people from all over the world.
Man,
Stages.
that'll be so interesting.
Yeah. No, I really, I'm interested to see both the type of shooter you get from, elsewhere beyond North America, and also what they're running in terms of ammo and optics and all that type of stuff. Because
absolutely, yeah.
Must be
How many people from Canada are you aware that are going?
There's 13 of us, I believe.
13.
Yeah.
All from Ontario?
No, actually, it's a good spread. There's a couple Western guys, and there's different divisions we filled. So there's 6 open shooters, 4 factory shooters, a youth, and a senior. I guess I'm missing one person, so forgive me. But I think there's 13 of us, a dozen if not. But yeah.
Yeah. Derek says BC and Ontario.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where the biggest populations of human beings are in Canada.
There's
too.
just a void in between those two provinces, isn't there?
And we like it like that.
Yeah. Sometimes it works out for us, so we can't complain.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes. You have a fan, by the way.
No kidding.
Yeah. Uke is 100% Indian.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Uke. I like you. I like you already.
I like you because you like me.
Yeah.
I choose you.
That's funny. Okay.
All right.
Let's bring this down to the end here. I've already asked you if there's anything that you want people to know, but let's let people know where they can find you. We've already talked about your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Talk about it again. Tell people where they can see you, et cetera, and go.
Okay, sounds good. So my YouTube channel, which is like my primary platform or whatever you want to call it, for sharing my content, is Womfat. That's wombats with an F. So replace the B with an F.
You might want to spell it for this audience.
Yeah, WOMFAT. Okay. And I primarily, right now, what I do is I just share my match footage. So I bring you along through the day when I'm shooting a match, and I try and run my trigger cam so you can see exactly what I'm seeing through my scope. I think it's, a more interesting way to watch someone shoot, because honestly, PRS is not really a very good like spectator sport unless you really appreciate the small details. So I try and make it
better than golf.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. It's not very hard to beat golf, though. But I try and make it as entertaining as possible. So I do that. I do some I don't really like to call them reviews because I don't enjoy doing like full out reviews, but I'll cover certain products that I personally think are really good that I want to share with you. And then I'm also on Instagram, same name, Womfat, and I just post basically pictures of my gear. And that's basically it. The 2 main platforms, YouTube and Instagram.
Sweet. Well, we should bring you back on when you come back from Italy.
Yeah, sure. That would be
all
cool.
the stories, and
Yep,
we can hear about how
definitely.
you visited the Colosseum and the Colosseum
And the Colosseum.
and the Colosseum.
Yeah.
That's literally the only reason I want to go to Italy. I just want to walk around the Colosseum.
That's all it's there, isn't it?
All right.
Shit.
So at this point, everybody, if you're still BPSN8 has the best shooting sports coverage in my. What is BPSN8? I've never heard of this. What?
The Ocho.
The
It's,
Ocho?
Yeah.
That's the 8 in Spanish. What is BS? Does he mean ESPN8?
These guys on Instagram covered a couple of shoots and just hammed it up. It was good stuff.
What are you talking about?
Oh God, Derek, sorry. What are you calling your Instagram?
Bagar Precision Shooting Network.
Shit.
Sorry, what is this Ocho about?
Banyak Precision. ESPN8, the Ocho.
Oh, so BSPN8 isn't an actual thing.
No. Well, it is to them, damn it.
I have no fucking idea what's going on right now. Okay.
Have you never seen Dodgeball?
I watched it when it first came out. I barely paid attention to it. All I know
you are
is that
such
if
an
you can dodge a
uncultured
wrench, you
bum.
can dodge a ball. It's the only thing I know.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Do I really need to know any more than that? Okay, so we parody sportscasting at CRPS matches. Oh, so this is actually a thing.
Yeah, they posted like a short video on the Facebook group. I think it was pretty funny.
It is.
Well, where do we find
Fucking
BSPN 8 then? Where do we find it?
I don't think there's an official channel.
It's not a thing. Go to look up Banyak Precision on Instagram. BANYAK Precision.
No, fuck that. Start a YouTube channel, Derek.
God damn it.
Get your shit on the YouTubes.
Oh, shit.
So at Banyak Precision on Instagram is what he says.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? That's not good enough. If it's not on YouTube, it doesn't exist.
Well,
Derek's like, fine. I look forward to seeing being one of your first subscribers on your new YouTube channel.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Let's see if it plays out.
There
Okay.
you go. See, you know.
I know a couple of lines. That's all I know. Okay. Hey, guys, if you're still watching the show, what the fuck is wrong with you? But if you are,
get a life.
Get a life. Make sure you give a like and subscribe on the channel. And hey, you guys are so fucking lazy. You never do this, but share the goddamn thing, would you? Just hit the share button and share it to your friends and say, hey, this is a really good episode. Share it on other pages that you're on the social medias and say, hey, this is a really good episode. Watch this fucking bald moron try to keep up with everybody else and stumbles over his words and shit. Because the algorithm
really selling it.
the algorithm does not share us, so you should share us.
No.
If you're still watching us live and you haven't hit like on either YouTube or Facebook, God damn it, do I have to say this every time? It sounds like I do. Hit the like and everything else. And
for the love of God,
I want. He's all in there. Jesus. Anyway, a massive thank you to all of our sponsors and all of our listeners. Without both of you guys, we would just be two morons sitting in different rooms in the same city, talking to each other and rambling incoherently. At least you get to watch us do it. So when we say our sponsors, we're talking about Shane and Steve. We're talking about Miles, Carey, and Cappy, Duncan and Rob, Phil Odell, Doug and Nisa, Vanya and Carly, Oscar, and J.R. Cox. Thank you guys an immeasurable amount for your support to our listeners and our watchers, our viewers. Thank you for your support. And holy crap, Matt, thanks for coming on. It was a lot of fun talking with you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You're most welcome.
You know, don't listen. I don't care what anybody says. You are the manliest man I've ever seen in my life.
Thanks, man. I really needed that tonight.
You're welcome. Anytime you just need a little pick-me-up from all the haters, you just shoot me a message and I'll let you know what time of day it is.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right. Kurt, am I missing anything before we're done here or what?
I think you got it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
My phone is blowing up and I didn't put it on silent once again, so maybe I'll start answering that. Guys, thanks for joining us, and join us again next week when we talk about even more ridiculous things. See ya.
Bye.
Damn it. That
didn't work.
Just
that
do
didn't
it.
work at all.
But some of these bullets, as you saw, have an incendiary device on the tip of it, which is a heat-seeking device.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Welcome to your weekly dose of BS, the Holistically Speaking podcast.